Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of Youth Inc. I'm your host today, Vibhuti Singh, and today on our show we have a special guest with us, a social entrepreneur and the founder of YP Foundation. Welcome today, Miss Ishita Chaudhary. Hello ma'am.
Hi.
I'd like to begin with, you started with YP Foundation 8 years back. There were a lot of challenges that time being a young person. So what kind of challenges did you face?
I think I faced two levels of challenges. One is as a young person and the second is particularly as a girl. The first is young people don't really have a very strong voice in the development systems of the country. People are not used to having young people's voices included at policy tables. And the second is as a young girl who wanted to do this independently. I remember when I went to get the organization registered at the tax office, one of the first things the tax officer said is ki aap to shadi karke fir social kaam hi kar rahe ho to bada acha hai. So even the perception of women being independent and challenging social structures, I think both of those were initially challenges and eventually one sort of overcame them.
So when was it that you first decided that you're going to incorporate yourself, you're going to engage with the youth and at the same time with the social movements?
Well, actually by training I'm a musician. I'm a classical musician. I'm a singer and
Really?
I play the piano. So this was certainly not where my life was headed. But in 2002 when the Godhra riots happened, I was part of a community, an educated community of young people in Delhi, and I just thought that we were very conspicuous by our silence. We were very absent. We didn't have any strong thoughts on why riots could or should happen in a country. Short of particularly, that we were concerned and we wanted to do something. So there was this idea of one-time intervention, but it was also to challenge, what that urban population was doing. Because if when a country needs you, you have no response apart from one that says, let's just give blankets or donate money, then I think that's when you really need to begin looking at your social fabric and your social conscience and whether they understand what human rights are all about. So that's really when we said, let's bring young people together to challenge and change the way things are and to see how they can contribute to social change differently.
So it was basically a political and social conflict that really moved you. And so that's why we began with YP.
I think it was human anguish. I think what happened with the Godhra riots is that, the media brought the riots into your home. And it was just challenging the morality that said that if it's not about you or your sister or husband or father or brother or mother or partner, that these are not your issues. And I think if you live in this country, irrespective of what your notions of nationalism are, rights are something that are shared or should be shared equally by everybody. So from that perspective, we are in it together. That's where it sort of came out of. Also the fact that young people don't have too many apolitical spaces where they can access resources, build programs and actually reach out to their own peers across the country. So it was really looking at some of these gaps with which we wanted to address, and therefore that we started the YP Foundation.
So what are the age boundaries that you look? Is there any particular age that you focus on?
Well, we focus on working with children, adolescents and young people between 3 and 26 years of age. Those are sort of like the age group that is really the direct beneficiaries. However, there's no age limit to people who can contribute to the organization. Our staff is a youth-led team. We're between 17 and 26 years of age, but we have people from all ages that are really helping out with different professional expertises.
Of course, youth is a very important factor, especially in a country like India. So what are the causes that you basically look into?
The organization is basically designed to help and enable and support young people to create programs and influence policy. And the YP over the past 8 years has picked 6 specific issues on which we work, which are governance, arts, gender, sexuality and health. The organization basically looks at a vision of promoting, protecting and enabling young people's human rights. So the whole question is, how can you help young people create community-based programs on these issues, at the same time strengthen youth-led leadership across the country and encourage young people to also be at the policy making tables to see how policies that impact their lives with connection to these issues specifically, how inclusive they are and how much of young people's voices from across the country they can really include as well.
So is there any logical structure how you incorporate young people? Because it seems that young people, it becomes very difficult for them to understand what the social issues are, and especially particularly they have a very narrow perspective, so to say.
So I think young people come from many different backgrounds. We have some young people who come in with no knowledge at all of human rights or the social justice issues that they want to work on. Other young people who have tremendous number of years of experience where they've been challenging the power structures within these issues. The whole point is, how can you learn from one another? The organization has 6 programs and we work both in English and in Hindi. And the main idea is that you can sign up as a volunteer to work in any one of these projects. We'll train you for a period of 4 to 6 months on these issues. during which time you really, you meet organizations, you go out and work into the field. After that point in time, you make a project on that issue and you go out and talk to your own peers about it. So that's really sort of how the ripple movement really works in the organization.
So it starts from one person, then you keep forwarding.
Absolutely.
So it's been 8 years since YP has been inception. But in terms of what is your most favorite, most touching cause that you've experienced so far?
I mean, I think for me personally, it's really hard to choose because we work on 6 programs.
I'm sure.
And that's sort of moments. But to me, the moments that are the most important are the ones where people walk into the organization having a really big idea. And then, when at the end of a year, when they've done their idea and the idea is a program in a community that's flourishing, and they hand it over to another young person, that's a particular moment. For me, in 2009, when the elections happened, one of our programs works on citizenship and the Right to Information Act. And we were training communities of young people on how to register for their voters ID. And I remember when we started the project, somebody had come to us and said, well, I want to register for my voters ID, but I'm having problems understanding the system. And we began by helping one person in sort of just a college in Delhi, and by the time we finished the process at the end of 2 months, we'd registered about 4,000 young people across Chhattisgarh and Delhi.
That's a huge number.
Yeah, and that to me, it was a big thing because it was literally just tables and teams of young people that went out in Raipur and went out in Delhi and actually helping the average ordinary citizen understand what the process is like, because the process is not as user-friendly as it should be. And at the same time realizing that the Citizenship Connect is possibly something that's also easier and not as difficult when we talk about active governance or being engaged with the system. That was just a special memory and it was a special moment for me.
So do you only focus on people from Delhi, or it's all over the country?
Well, when YP started 8 years ago, I myself was I just finished my class 12th board exams. So we began as a very small organization and we only began working, in fact, in South Delhi. Over the last 8 years, the organization now works with about 5,000 young people in 10 states across the country. Our primary community-based programs are in Delhi, but we work with strengthening youth-led organizations and their technical capacities in 8 to 10 countries, in 8 to 10 cities across India. Additionally, YP also works with youth-led organizations in South and Southeast Asia. So now there's local work that's happening, national work that's happening, and regional work that's happening as well.
Ishita, I must say, I mean, you started at a very young age and now you've actually become a youth icon, processing yourself all over the country. But so where do you see yourself next, probably 5 years down the line?
Fading into the background. I think that my whole point with YP was to find a place in a huge country where I could help myself and to be able to provide that opportunity to other people as well. Now my focus is going to be on expanding this opportunity to other young people in different villages, in different states, in both urban and rural spaces across the country, and to encourage a second generation of leadership. So I think that my particular journey with it is going to continue. I'm going to continue working with it, but I also think that these concepts of like leaderships or icons or whatever, they're very flavor based, and at the end of the day it's really about finding a space of work that you find meaningful and being able to empower somebody else. So that's going to be my particular purpose, and hopefully in the next 5 years, you'll see like other icons that will come up in different spaces.
I think the ripple effect that you're creating is tremendous, and I hope it moves on further. But on a concluding note, I would like to ask you, what for the budding entrepreneurs, what is the message that you would want to send across?
I think primarily, if you want to do something in life, to go do it. I started with no money, no resources. There was no pot of gold. We put every single rupee together, and I think too often we get too scared by people telling us that we don't have the talent, we don't have the connections, we don't have the power, and if you want something done, you have to fundamentally do it yourself, but that also you're not going to be alone in doing it. So just to go out there and try. I think you'd be amazed by the number of strangers who'd step out from the shadows and actually help you in what you do.
Really?
Yeah.
Ishita, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
And that's all we have for all of you, and we hope that the show today really enlightened you, and we hope that we come back again in a better light. Thank you so much for tuning in to us. Have a good day.